I prefer dark.
I feel like all girls prefer that.
Pitch black.
No.
But pretty dark though.
Like one bathroom light on.
Dude, I like it kind of bright, bro. I want to see you, man.
Also, like, I need to stop, like, letting them know that, like...
Yeah, we're like, actually, I'm on my period and everything's
Like-
really hairy.
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation got me so wet and so dry at the same time. Exactly.
What's up, bitches? Welcome back to another episode of So Wet, So Dry. I'm one of your hosts, Fiji, like the island, like the water. I've been breaking out a lot on my chin because I keep sucking dick, and I work in social media and marketing.
And I'm your other host, Autumn, like the season. I got the same hair that I had when I was 19, and it's giving cunt. And I work in entertainment. If you guys are new here to So Wet, So Dry, what we do is we explore duality through deep diving topics about sex, relationships, personal identity, all where internet trends and reality collide. We post polls for every single episode that we put out, give y'all an opportunity to have your voice heard. The only way to be a part of that is to follow us on Instagram. We post it on our stories every week, so definitely follow us there. And whatever platform you're listening on right now, please just take a second to subscribe or follow, drop a comment, and our email is literally always open if you guys want to suggest topics or submit a story, need advice. So wet, so dry, the O's are zeros at gmail.com.
Yes, and today we are talking about body insecurities during sex. We're talking about body shame. We're talking about women's insecurities in bed, obviously, but we're also talking about the men this episode. So we're touching on both. But before we get into that, we're going to start the episode as we always do, talking about what we're so wet and so dry about in this very moment. So I will go first. I am so wet. I don't know, not much. Not much has been different, kind of the same, but I am getting a new tattoo on Monday, guys. I'm getting a back tat tramp stamp. It's going to eventually go up, like, my whole back, and I kind of want it to connect to, like, the front right here and, like, this. It's going to be, like, a whole piece, but I'm just starting with the lower back. I know, I need to just, like, transform into a body.
Bitch.
Like, I'm just, like, I have a bunch of random tattoos on my side that I just got when I was younger that just, like, don't make any sense. And, like, I like my wrist, I like my hand aesthetics, but I need something more,
Babe,
you know?
Absolutely you do. And it's going to look fucking incredible. And it's going to make me more upset that you're not just, like, a full-on dom lesbian. But, like, it's fine. It's fine because bye, girls. Like, that's hot as fuck, too. So, I love that. I definitely want to get a tattoo, too. Fuck.
I know.
I literally have none, guys. So, that's crazy. But this week, I'm so wet. Well, first of all, I've been watching Hot Ones, like the YouTube show a lot. Because my girl Sabrina Carpenter was on there, obviously. Billie Eilish was with her brother. Like, both great episodes.
Everyone says her brother. I feel so bad for him, low key. Like,
do people hate on him? I didn't even know.
Because he's like part of the genius behind her music.
Right.
It's just like Billie Eilish and her brother. Like, you know?
I know. I'm like, what's his name, bro? I don't know.
Phineas. His name is Phineas.
I didn't know he like existed. I'm not like a huge Billie fan. Like, I mean, I'm more so just like want to be in a relationship with her. But anyways, that's one. And also I've just been like, you know, being around humans, guys. Like, I went outside. Walked around, like, and it was, like, so nice. Like, I really do have, like, such nice, like, amazing people that I should be hanging out with more. And it was just, like, you do have friends, Autumn. Like, you're fine. You're okay.
Yes.
So, just a lot of wet this weekend for me.
We love a social queen. Okay, I'm dry. One, because just money shit, guys. Look at my nails right now. They are crazy. But I get paid on Monday.
Let's go.
Also, home repair is just typical bullshit. But I'm mostly dry / confused about some TikTok shit / PR / marketing. You know Ice Spice. Do you see this? Did you see this drama, this tea, this stuff?
No, but I didn't. What's so funny, the other day I was like, damn, what happened to her? You know what I mean? Okay. Like, people aren't talking about her as much. Like,
until now.
It
just exploded in the past 2 days.
So that's tea. I was feeling an intuition.
Yeah, because, I mean, I love Ice Spice. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love her music and stuff. But, like, you know, like, it was, like, it's getting like a little old. But she went viral, one, because she was twerking on stage and she looked hella like depressed, like she just didn't want to be there. But then she just dropped a new song with Central C. You know who he is, right? Mm-hmm. He's dating Madeline Argy. I think she has a podcast with like the Call Her Daddy network. She's like British. Yeah. She makes TikToks, whatever. Anyway, there's all this drama where like Ice Spice and Central C were like photographed together. And then like he commented on her picture and like all this stuff. And now Madison is going on her TikTok like blowing him up, saying that this was like a PR stunt, but she's not in on it, and it happened right before her birthday, and like, but I'm like, everyone thinks it's a PR stunt on all sides because it would low-key be good for all of them. Like, right. You know what I'm saying?
Like Madison saying she wasn't a part of it though.
Yeah, she's saying that like he texted her like, babe, like this is about to something's about to happen. Like, just remember that I'm human or something like that. And she's like, what the fuck? This is right before her birthday. And then she was like depressed all day. Her birthday, her friends like came and got her. But like he commented on Ice Spice's picture, like Trouble. They've been posted up together a ton. They were on live together. But it seems like too much for them to be actually together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when you first start seeing someone, you're not going to like post with them so much like that.
Especially, isn't he still dating this person? Like,
allegedly.
Right.
But in his song, he talks about like cheating on her a lot. And she said that like he always says, oh, it's just lyrics, whatever. But it's like, it's giving like PR. It's giving PR. I don't know, but it could not be because she looks like too perfect in the videos where she's talking about it, like her makeup's done, like she looks cute, like
Madison.
And she's like the type of person like Alex Earl, like Alex whatever, that talk about their life like on TikTok. So like this would kind of be good for her brand too, because all the girls are like commenting on Ice Spice's shit and Central C shit, like Team Madison, whatever.
It's just goes to show we never know what goes down with celebrities. Like as much as people think they fucking know, like. We don't. Because we're not in the Illuminati, guys.
Yeah. You know? Exactly.
Damn, that threw me for a loop, low-key. But I'm dry, and this directly relates to this episode, so I'm just going to keep it short. But, like, I'm definitely, like, not really having sex right now, like, because of my body, like, low-key. So, like, this episode about body shaming during sex, body insecurity, like, I was like, Fiji, I don't know. Like, this one might be a little bit too much for me.
It's close to the heart,
but I'm definitely, like, feeling, like, better. But I'm still just, like, I don't know. Like, body stuff during sex, like, it's just, it can get weird. So we're going to talk all about it. So let's just get into the episode. And before I get into that, actually, we do want to just give out a trigger warning. Again, this is going to be specifically, like, about body image and, like, during sex and like leading up to sex and dating and all of that. But if you do struggle with like disordered eating or, an eating disorder, because they're two different things, guys, but, or just body image conversations are too much for you to handle. Like this is not the episode for you, and that is okay. You can meet us here back next week, Thursday midnight EST. So it's okay. And so we're just going to put that out there. Like if body stuff is hard for you, and that's fine. Just don't watch the episode. A book that I read a while ago when I was trying to heal my body insecurities is this book called Hunger by Roxane Gay. Mm-hmm. And Roxane Gay, if you guys don't know, is a writer, professor, editor, and social commentator. She's the author of the New York Times bestselling essay collection, Bad Feminist, which I also read, as well as the short story collection, Ayiti, the novel An Untamed State, the short story collection, Difficult Woman, and the memoir, Hunger. So it's a super powerful memoir. She basically tackles what it's like to live in our society in a bigger body, eating disorders, body image, body dysmorphia, also like experiencing violence as a child. So it's, it goes in there. But for me, I did find it really healing. So I just kind of want to, set the scene for the episode with this quote from her, and then we will touch on her again at the end as well. So, Roxane said, fat shaming is real, constant, and rather pointed. There are a shocking number of people who believe they can simply torment fat people into weight loss and disciplining their bodies or disappearing their bodies from the public sphere. They believe they are medical experts, listing a litany of health problems associated with fatness as personal affronts. These tormentors bind themselves in righteousness when they point out the obvious, that our bodies are unruly, defiant, fat. It's a strange civic-minded cruelty when people try to shame me for being fat. I feel rage. I get stubborn. I want to make myself fatter to spite the shamers, even though the only person I would really be spiting is myself. And then real quick, another quote, Roxanne said, "You are your body, nothing more, and your body should damn well become less." And that last sentence, like, that really helped me, like, go through some shit. Like, just knowing it's like, we are not our bodies. Like, that's not everything. Yeah. It should be the least interesting thing about you, you know? Like, that should be the last thing that someone loves about you. They should love all the other stuff, too. At least that's what we are going for. Yeah. So I really liked that. And I think especially the medical thing, I mean, I have a lot of friends that have experienced, you know, like straight up bullying from doctors. Like, that's honestly, let's call it what it is. Like, it's harassment. It's incorrect. Like, if you guys don't know, like, BMI is like a scam. Bullshit. Like, don't look it up. You know, it's not going to make you happy. So it's, you know, that thing, that's very real in our culture.
Yeah. Yeah. This just kind of like the medical stuff, like, one, I think I was told I was overweight once in like middle school or high school. And like, guys, I was not. Like, I was very active athletically. Like, I'm tall, like I'm 5'7", but like I think mine was like a little bit over. But like, thankfully I had like a chill doctor that was like, do not look at the chart. Like, you're good. But another thing I thought of is just like, I used to work for a gym and do marketing for a gym, and it was a very male dominated space because it was like MMA, boxing, whatever. And the strange thing is that like, I was like close with a lot of the personal trainers, mostly guys, and a lot of them used to be like overweight, heavier, fatter when they were like younger, and then like had a bunch of like internalized shame, insecurity, and then like got super ripped in the gym, which I think is a really common thing for men in adulthood. And men of course can have body dysmorphia too. Right. But they were some of the biggest ones that would be like talking about this, like, oh, it's unhealthy, oh, you need to do this, oh, you need to eat like that. And it was just so interesting for me because like I had always kind of looked at like eating disorders as like a woman thing, but like being in that space, it was like talked about in such a different way, but it was like so clearly like body dysmorphia. Like, I actually was really close with like one of the trainers, and he told me like, I have body dysmorphia. Like, I know that I have it because like I literally have like an 8-pack abs, but when I look in the mirror, I still see that like 12-year-old kid that was like a little heavier and was like bullied. So it's like, it's so sad, but like I think that's also something to like be conscious of when you're like working out or joining a gym, because like I found like there was a lot of body shaming going on there, and it made me uncomfortable sometimes, and just conversations with like people in the gym, like trainers, like all of that stuff.
That's
which
your
is like
job. Like, you're in the workplace.
Exactly. And like also like people are going there to like be healthy, to just like relieve stress, like all of those things. But unfortunately, like sometimes those spaces do like manifest a lot of like toxic body stuff. So just be careful where you choose to work out, because like it is real and it can like get into your psyche, you know?
Yeah. And I think there's, you know, maybe not as many men have eating disorders as women, as whatever, but I also think it's like, it's so many that go undiagnosed, because I can imagine they do feel like, oh, it's, you know, a women's thing. And we could talk all day about perceptions of eating disorders, but I feel like that's so important to say that, because I think like there are so many men that struggle. Are there majority of them, do they get help? No. It's just like what we talked about in male loneliness. It's like men are lonely and depressed, but they don't go to therapy, you know? So it's intense, and it's super important to talk about. Don't want to leave them out of the conversation.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna get into some polls, just gonna read them back to back. So the first poll we asked you guys is, how often are you feeling shame about your body while having sex or just doing anything intimate? 46% said sometimes, 40% said never or rarely, 12.5% said more than 75% of the time, and 1.5% said pretty much always. And that's fantastic. Like, barely no one said pretty much always. And then the second poll was, what's something you typically feel insecure about? The winner of that one at 55% was indeed stomach rolls. 17% was body hair. 14% said I get insecure when I'm on top. And 14% also said my tits and or ass. So Fiji and I are just going to talk a little bit about like, you know, how often we feel insecure and like what that kind of looks like. And I'll go first. So basically how often, like this is weird, right? Because like I haven't had sex in a year. So like if I was going to have sex today, I would be anxious as fuck. But like the last time I had sex, like I wasn't like that,
Do you think it
good.
would be like,
so I'm
I
going
think it would be like, I know you're anxious as fuck thinking about having sex, like going to meet up with someone when you know you're about to have sex. But say you were just like drunk.
I would be so loose, babe.
You'd be fine.
I'd be so loose.
So it depends on the situation.
Yeah, if I met them IRL and it just happened, I'd be so loose. Because something Fiji said to me the other day that really helped is like, it's like, exactly, like when you're in your head about it, you're going to meet up with them, you don't know the vibe, but once you're with them and you can feel the energy, like you can feel when someone's attracted to you. Like, you know what I mean? That you just met up, like they're happy with what you came in looking like whatever. And that is like, okay, we're good, you know? But I don't know. I think like I would say just like sometimes, you know, like we all get insecure about our bodies. Like right now I feel like it's at an all-time high just because I have been celibate for so long and like just not really interested. And now I'm like, okay, like I'm interested. And I think like I never get insecure about my tits or ass, like flex, I guess. But the other three, like being on top, body hair, stomach rolls, like I honestly like being on top does stress me out, especially because I feel like I've like been with a lot of like men that are thinner than me, women that are thinner than me. I'm like, okay, like I don't know. But I also find that like going into it, I'm super nervous. Oh, how's my stomach gonna look? But once I'm being fucked, like I'm kind of just like whatever. Like at that point, they got me spread the fuck open. Like what's the worst that could happen? Like you know, at the end of the day, like words. You know, okay, well it gets kind of dark. What's the worst that could happen during sex? Why does my mind go there, bro? Yeah. But you know what I mean. So it's interesting. How do you feel?
Yeah, I would say sometimes, like, I was, like, honestly close to saying rarely, never, like.
Because you're having sex consistently right now.
I am. I'm having sex consistently, and I feel very, like, comfortable with the person that I'm with. Like, I feel like they, like, love my body. Like, I'm comfortable with them, so, like, it's cool.
Right.
I will say that, like, I do know that I gain, like, so, guys, like, just, you guys know me, like, probably mostly like this. I feel like I've gained weight, like, in the past year. But, like, I went from being, like a normal size, like I don't even want to say normal size, but like normal for my body because I was like working out a lot, played sports in high school, whatever, to like gaining weight, like freshman weight, whatever, getting thicker, to getting really skinny. Like I lost like 60 pounds in like 2 to 3 months, to like like more normal for my body stature, to like gaining more weight. So like my body has changed like so much, and like with that, it's like weird, like I don't notice it, but then I'll get random insecurities. Like I know when I was really skinny, it was like having no ass that made me really insecure, because that's something I always had, like being a soccer player, like sprinting, like all of that stuff. And then when I got like thicker, it was more like stomach rolls. But like throughout it all, body hair is definitely like number one. Like just because I'm a pale girl with dark hair and I have a thick bush, okay, like on the side, it's not I love the girls that have a cute little, like you, honestly, cute little located to one area. Like my shit is on like
I got
like
lucky.
it like goes down the thigh. So it's like I get waxed.
Shut up, bitch. All the way down?
Okay, not like all the way down, but it's a good like couple,
yeah.
like
no, I
it's
feel
a good
you.
amount of space.
Yeah.
You know, it gets lighter.
And that's
like,
the majority. Most of the pussies I've seen are like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And like I've met a lot of girls in my adulthood that aren't insecure about it at all, and they'll be like, "Oh, I always have a bush when I fuck." Like, why is that an insecurity to you? And that honestly helps, because I'm like, oh, I'm tripping. But definitely like I get waxed, which I prefer because razor burn is also an insecurity for me. So like waxing helps, but I will say like that growing it out period between like when you get waxed, like I'll still like let my partner like eat me out and like all of those things, but I will be like a little bit more like hide it, you know, and I know he
like
doesn't
just
give a
slip
fuck.
it
it's
in.
just a me thing. Yes,
Yeah.
like don't look, lights off, like
Dude,
you
we're
know?
gonna get into lights off. Trust me,
Yeah.
we're gonna get into lights off,
Mhm.
bitch. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys some perspective. Like this definitely hits home for both of us as it does with a lot of people, because it's hard to have a fucking body in general in this society, let alone if you are like on the thicker or even really like anywhere, you know, they're gonna find things. So the next poll we asked you guys was a little bit different. Has a partner ever made a direct comment to make you feel insecure about your body during sex? 51% said no, 34% said yes, and 15% said kind of. If this did happen to me, I blocked it out because I don't remember. The only thing that comes to mind, and it doesn't count because it was after sex, but I had sex with my ex-partner. He was a man, and he fucked me, like, whatever. After he came to me super gently and respectfully and was like, babe, like, I noticed, like, it smelled a little different. Like, are you, like, you know, like, is everything good? Like, are you noticing anything? Like, was it me? Like, he wasn't trying to come at me. Bitch, I immediately shut down.
I
like,
would too.
and this is like, it's like we want men
but
to
they
be
can
vulnerable.
do that to you. They can he did it nicely.
Yeah, he did it nicely. I shut down immediately, started crying, and he got frustrated. He was like, I'm just like, he's like, I love you. Like, I want you to be okay. It's not even about the smell, bro. Like, if you need to go to the doctor, like, whatever. And so, yeah, and we worked through it, but I immediately, and so that was kind of like, and so am I insecure about the way my pussy smells now moving forward? Yeah, like new
and
fear
that's
unlocked.
a common one.
But we all kind of are, and I understand that. But yeah, so that's the only thing I could think of, and that fucking sucked. Bad.
Yeah, but it is like that's the healthy way to do it, but you can't help how you're gonna feel. I mean, women, we already have like all that stuff.
But I silenced him with my tears for real, just like fucking Bell Hooks said. No.
But you need a minute. Like you need
No,
a minute.
it's just a joke.
I don't know. I think I said no to this, but now that I'm thinking about the whole body hair thing, I definitely have had. My ex said something about my mustache because I grow like that's not really a sex thing, but like,
are you fucking kidding me?
He was like, oh, in the light you can see it, whatever, which I get it waxed. But
he's a child.
I had grown out, and also something, guys, I get nipple hairs. Okay, I pluck them, but like I get hairs on my nipples, so like that. But now I don't get. Oh, and blood. I feel like when you're fucking like on your period, like. A guy will be like, ew, like there's blood or whatever. I used to get like insecure about that, but now I don't get, I'm like, okay, deal with it. Like, you know.
Especially I'm like, you wanted to.
Right. Like, I really feel like in like adulthood, womanhood, like I don't, like none of those things would really like bother me as much. They were so little that I didn't even think about it the first time I did the polls, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fucking valid as fuck. Because I know, it's like, you do have to think about it, and it's like the unfortunate part is like, okay, so why do we feel like this then? And it's like, well, it's coming from inside our head, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I even saw this TikTok, I didn't put it in, but he was saying like, when people are insecure, it's like, think about it. Like, has anyone actually, like, after you fucked, they were like, ew, like, has anything ever happened? Yeah. But I chose not to put it in because I was like, well, what if that has happened? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think that was like the best advice, because you could have sex with a real asshole. Like, unpopular opinion, but I don't think you can be bad at sex. I think if the sex is bad, either like you were drunk, it was weird, or like you're just not compatible. You weren't communicating. Like, I do think sex can be worked on. Like, I don't believe when people are like, he was just bad at sex. I'm like, well, like, he just didn't do what you liked, you know?
Yeah, and maybe
or
like,
he's a dick. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, if it was like a one night stand and the sex was bad, like, you know, like
it's a one night
worth
stand.
It. But like with a partner, I think it can definitely be worked through. But like, I do think like with my like pussy hair and stuff, like how I'm insecure about it. Like, I remember one time I had this like sneaky link like dude that I was fucking, and I was on my period and my pussy was not waxed. And he like wanted to like link up, and I was like, oh no, like I'm on my period and I need to get waxed. And he was like, I'm a grown man, I don't care. And I remember thinking like that was like
Daddy?
so hot. And I was like, also like I need to stop like letting them know that like
Yeah, we're like, actually I'm on my
one
period
thing.
and everything's
Like,
really hairy.
yeah, like the hairy thing, like I've realized like now I'm with like a consistent partner, but before like I would tell like why am I like, disclosure before we fuck? Like they don't pay attention. Now they're gonna pay attention. Like bitch, it's okay.
Bro, we can't control ourselves. Like we really
I'm
can't.
just like, no, don't look. And they're like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
we
my dick
text
is
them
hard
like
right
a
now.
detailed
Like, here we
paragraph.
go.
I'm on my period, but like it's at the end, so like you'll barely even notice it. Also, I got waxed 3 days ago, so it's kind of stubbly right now. Like,
And they're just like, shut up, bitch, turn around.
why do we need
Like,
to give them a play-by-play? That's fucking hilarious.
I'm screaming.
All right, so we're going to talk about some specific examples of people sharing on the internet when they were body shamed. So we're going to start with this Reddit story, and I shall read it. So this story is about a female who's 27 and a male who's 29. And it's from the perspective of the female. And she said, so, period. I've been dating this guy for 9 months now. He's taken care of me when I was sick, traveled hours when we were long distance, and was extremely sweet, caring, and compassionate. But there's been an issue playing on my mind since the day it happened 3 months ago, and I just can't shake it. We were having sex. He grabs me and says he would really like to be able to lift me up over his shoulders and pick me up to fuck. And if I just lost weight and became more curvy, I'd be so sexy. Mind you, he's saying this to me mid-pump, looking me dead in the eyes.
What the fuck?
I just freeze, not even sure what to say. I promptly tell him to get the fuck off me, and we don't talk for a few weeks or have sex again for a while. He tells me he only wants to be with me, but I could be better.
Okay, what?
During this time, he continuously pursues me, telling me I'm all he wants, etc., but I feel like the level of trust dissipated. For reference, I'm 5'5", 190, more muscular hourglass. I'm a mixed girl and carry the weight evenly. I'm definitely thick, but I've always been okay with that. Am I overreacting to get upset about this from time to time? Even though he's apologized, I just can't shake the feeling that he wants better and is settling. So before we talk about it, somebody commented and said, my ex-husband told me that his biggest fear was that I would gain weight. That was on our wedding night. I did eventually gain weight and he stopped displaying any physical affection at all. I lost weight and nothing changed. He was never physically attracted to me again. We were married for 25 years. All physical affection ceased after about year 6. What I learned after all those years is that people mean what they say. If your partner is mentioning you needing to lose weight now, walk away before you waste your time with someone who will always be finding things about you that he thinks need to change.
Valid. That's like, I'm like, what type of like dirty talk is this man thinking that he's
like,
doing?
oh, you need to be
like,
skinnier.
you need to be skinnier. Because at first, like before, I forget what part it was, I was like, okay, he's projecting because he's insecure that he's not strong enough to pick you up or whatever. Because it's like,
right.
you
You
know what
can't
I'm saying?
bench
Like,
190?
like, oh, I need to lose weight, but you can't get stronger to pick me up. Like,
Maybe
all
you
right.
need to go to the gym and lift some more fucking
And
pounds.
I'm like, okay, guys, like you can get a swing. Like, what? Like, we don't need to be fucking, like, I don't think I'd feel comfortable with someone, like, picking me up and fucking. Like, I'm not an acrobat. Like, that's just, it's crazy for him to continuously, like, pursue you, too. But I do think that there's a thing, like, with men specifically, where it's like when they fuck up, like even though they know they fucked up and they don't really actually want you, like they might want someone else, like they want to make up for what they did wrong. So it's almost just like an ego thing. Like they don't want you to have cut them off because they did something bad.
Right. And I like so relate to, it's like she just like froze, you know? Like I feel like I picture myself in that situation. Like I would literally like be like paralyzed, like I'm getting a pap smear, like that feeling where like if I move it might hurt, like That's so fucking traumatizing.
And you can't fuck like that. Like, good for her for
that
like,
she said, get the fuck
pushing
off
him
me.
off and like not talking to him. And like, you know, like that's cool that he has like other good qualities and has taken care of you when you're sick. Like, that's all like nice and beautiful. But like, at the end of the day, like the second woman said, like, people show you who the fuck they are. And like, that is just like such a like fucked up thing to, I'm like, you're fucking me, but you're fantasizing about a body that's not mine. Like, that's so...
It's so fucking
beyond.
twisted. And I know, and it seems so simple, right? People mean what they say, believe them. But it's like, we have such a hard time with that when it comes to like romantic interest, sexual interest. It's like, we want to just excuse it all the time and keep going, like whatever, because of the good things. But I would say, like, I agree. It's definitely a fucking deal breaker. Like, you can't talk to me like that.
And two things can be true at the same time, because like having been in like a like toxic abusive relationship or whatever, it's like I would always tell myself, oh, like, yeah, this shit is really bad, but he makes me food and like he's still with me and like whatever. But it's like, that's you trying to like balance the scales. And like in certain things in relationships with little shit, like that's okay. But if it's something that is causing you to like continuously go back to after like 3 months, that's causing new insecurities to form, and like he's not really like, I don't know. I feel like, because part of me, no, I don't want to backtrack. I was just going to say, if he said it once and was like actively trying to like be sorry about it, like maybe he just blacked the fuck out and I don't know what the fuck happened. But at the same time, like the second girl, her saying that her husband said that on their wedding night. Also, this also makes me think of, you know, Love is Blind.
I sure do, my friend.
The last season with, what was her name?
AD and
men
are
whatever
irrelevant.
the fuck his name is, irrelevant. But like her body, beautiful. Okay.
Fuck.
And like she was talking about how like she cares a lot about going to the gym and like whatever. And out of nowhere, he was like, oh yeah, because like if you got fat, like I would tell you. And like she like corrected him and was like, what? Like,
he didn't know what her body looked like then, right?
Like no,
what did
no,
she...
but he was asking a lot of questions about her appearance before they linked up.
I know.
But like you could kind of tell that like even though she was like gorgeous and her body was amazing, that maybe she physically was not his type or something, because like he was still weird.
Right.
Like saying he was going to cheat on her, and I don't know, but like those are red flags, you know, especially if you're someone that already has body dysmorphia or disordered eating or an eating disorder, any of those stuff. If you ever have struggled with that, you need your partner to be like your champion of your body and love your body and like give you that validation and all that stuff. You cannot be with someone who's going to make you feel worse about yourself. Like,
right.
No.
We don't have time. We really don't.
We don't. Mm-mm.
The next Reddit post we're going to get into is from a man's perspective, and it touches on kind of the effects of body shaming men and things like that. It's kind of long, guys, so strap in. So he said, from how common it is for people here to body and or sex shame others, the impression that I've gotten from here and most similar spaces is that people will preach all day long about body and sex positivity, but then the moment a guy says or does something they disapprove of, they immediately resort to roasting them based on their looks, height, weight, penis size, and sorry guys, I'm such a child. I just don't like the word
penis.
Sorry. Yes.
Dick.
And sexual history. So fucking often in this sub, I've seen people who completely shamelessly insult guys based on their looks, dick size, and on how much sex they've had, and it's so fucking gross. A lot of teens and young men who struggle socially and romantically, which is far from uncommon these days and for reasons that aren't all necessarily them being creepy incels, look at this stuff and start to internalize the idea that having a small dick, being short, being ugly, not having a girlfriend, and not getting laid regularly makes them an inferior and lesser person deserving of mockery, and that these traits inherently make you one of the enemy. By regularly using those things as insults, you are reinforcing the notion that not only are the enemies ugly, short virgins or what have you, but having those traits inherently makes you a bad person, and that the good people are all attractive studs. Not lesbians, guys, men. It's part of why a lot more guys are being slowly radicalized over time by the right, because they are shamed for things that are out of their control. And then you have people telling them online all those things which validate their feelings and further radicalize them. Shaming a guy for being a virgin who can't get laid reinforces the notion that women are simply prizes to be claimed, and that a man's value and masculinity is determined by how much sex he's had and how many women he's quote unquote conquered. I really think this sub and other progressive spaces would benefit from taking a lot of the same messages feminists give to women and applying them to men. We really need to start promoting the notion that a man does not need a girlfriend or to get laid regularly to be valid and valuable. Or that they do not need to be tall and chiseled, muscular, ultra confident and assertive giga chads with a big schlong, Jesus Christ, to be considered masculine or valid. A guy's value is not and should not be tied to his ability to get a girlfriend or to how many girls he's had on his dick since high school or how attractive or tall he is. I don't think it sounds super controversial. I don't think it sounds super controversial or anything. Just a thought. Like, babe, you guys, like, I shortened that a lot. Like, the post was very big, but I mean, I have so many thoughts. I kind of want to hear from you first to see, to feel the vibes, and then I'll respond.
No, I think this is honestly like real as fuck. And I feel like the scariest thing about it that he said that we talk about a lot is like how this type of stuff pushes like men closer to the right and radicalizes them. And I think it also goes back to some our Men Have Feelings episode in the male loneliness epidemic, where we're talking about how like women kind of internalize this misogyny and patriarchy and then also use it against men as well. And the thing is, like, I feel like realistically, and what most of us women will say, like, especially now, I've been seeing this thing about like rat men trending and like skinny boys and like all this stuff, like because of Timothy Chalamet, or like, which someone said I said that wrong. I don't know.
Is it Chalamet?
Chalamet, whatever the fuck it is. Either way. But I do think, like, realistically and honestly with women, like, we like a variety of body types, dick sizes, whatever. It's more about the person.
Do we?
I'm not going to get into body shaming territory, but I will say, I don't want a giga chad chiseled whatever the fuck. That's not what I am attracted to. I am much more attracted to a skinny, artsy guy that, like, doesn't really lift weights. Like, that's what I'm into. Like, you feel me? But anyway, I say that all to say, like, I think the reason that women resort to going for a man's height, looks, dick size, whatever, is usually because the man has insulted a woman in a way that he is not understanding. And so women are trying to hit men where they know it hurts, and that usually is their height, their dick size, their looks, whatever. Because in a patriarchal society, that's what's been fed to them as like whatever. So I think I'm not saying that it's right, but I feel like it's normally in response to a man doing a woman dirty or like whatever, that a woman's gonna be like, oh, and your dick's small anyway, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's what he missed. You know what I mean? And like, I think everything that he said like was valid and like, you know, but he missed like, and that's what men always miss, like the acknowledgement. Like, how can we get on here and be like, well, men are this way, like patriarchy, blah, 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 but they can't do that for us. Like, they can't acknowledge like why a woman might want to body shame a man. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, it's like, you think about Drew Afawalo, guys, my favorite person. Like, this happens to her all the time when people are like, you body shame. But every single fucking guy that makes a video about her says she's fat. Yeah. And what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, but you can do it. It's all funny. Right. But when she does it, and that's a constant fucking rhetoric in her
and
comment
it's
section.
real because I feel like honestly, in my abusive relationship, my ex would say so many terrible, cruel, awful things to me that and I would just take them. And then it got to a point where I said some very terrible things to him as well that I knew would hurt specifically, but it was because you're not getting it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you're almost trying to hurt them at that point. And I think that's like what women are like, because it's like we get it from so many angles all the time that it's like, okay, like I'm going to hit you where it hurts you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they can't take it.
And I definitely used to be like kind of exist in like a fat phobic space somewhat when I was in college. I hated my body so much, and I definitely projected that onto other people. And men that would catcall me, like the first thing out of my mouth was like, you're fat. You know what I mean? And it's like, exactly what you said. If someone said that to me, like, it's like, it not really anymore, thank God, but that used to be like the worst possible fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's bad. And, you know, I recognize that that's so wrong. But I do think that, like, when it comes to like a small dick, right? Like, I was
gonna say we should talk about
like, let's talk about it for real, because like, here's the thing, like, I've had sex with dicks of all different sizes. Like, you know, I've never had sex with like a chode dick or anything, but like, I'm scared.
No, like,
but okay, I'll say it this way: me and a lot of women that like I talk to, it's like we do want a big dick, you know. But if I was in Love is Blind and like fell in love with someone, came out and they had a small dick, like I would figure out how to work with it, you know? But it's like, I say that, but like, I don't know. It's just the sex that I remember so like this guy, like whatever, we hung out for the first time. He was really attractive. I was like into him. But then honestly, on our date, like he was kind of pissing me off. Like he wasn't like maybe it was his personality too, but then we were like, went back to his place and like we were gonna fuck, and like I was down to like see about it. Of course he wants to eat me out immediately. Anyways, so he puts his dick in me and it's like, it's so small and it was so unenjoyable. And I feel so bad because it's like, if you compare it to like, oh, like Autumn was so fat on top of me, it was unenjoyable. Like, is that okay to compare? Like,
right.
But like, if like for a gay guy, for example, like if they want to get fucked, like they want big dick too, no? Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like everyone wants big dick. Like,
I mean, I think I can
not
only think
huge.
of one guy that I fucked with a small dick, and like his personality was like not it. Like it was just really on some like, we had sexual tension because of like class or whatever, and I like fucked him, and like it was small, not the one that you're thinking of, a different one. But, like,
I know.
It was
Well, you
small,
guys
but, like,
didn't fuck.
Who? No, who?
The one from class.
No, I thought you were thinking of the other one. It's not.
Oh, okay.
It's
whatever,
not that one.
bitch.
It's a different. Either way, but he had a small dick, but like he didn't know how to use it, and like he like focused on my clit a ton. Like he gave me head, like whatever, and it was not bad sex. Like I still came. Again, like I was not really into him as a person, and like I would not see him again. But like I don't. Yes, I prefer a big dick. Like I feel like what guys think of, like they need this like monstrous like whatever
because
is
that,
like not realistic.
No.
But like it also, like you watched The Bachelorette, the first episode of The Bachelorette, right?
Yeah.
And do you remember the guy that was like, oh, like I know when people have nice cars, they're usually compensating, but like I actually have a huge dick. And it was like, you don't remember? That was like the thing he said at the beginning.
and she didn't really like that.
And she was like, what the fuck? Because like I do think it's also a thing where it's like, because women inflate like, oh, we want a big dick, whatever. I think what men miss a lot of times in the conversation is that like women as sexual creatures are way more complex than just a fucking big dick. Like I don't see a big dick in porn and I'm just like, this is the reason.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've had guys send me unsolicited dick pictures of big ass dicks. Does that mean I just want to fuck them? No, it's more about like the chemistry and the person, and like to be a guy just going around saying, oh, my dick is huge is a turn off as
weird
well.
as fuck.
So it's like
I can think
like
of someone that
complex.
does that in Atlanta, low key.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, like I feel like it's a lie to say that dick size doesn't matter, because like obviously like we'd like a dick with a curve is nice as well. Like, women don't talk about that as much, but a dick with a curve is nice. Like, a good size, a good girth.
If it curves the right way, though, sometimes.
But it's not the only, like, I feel like it's not, like, I feel like women resort to saying that when they have to, and I don't think it's the only thing that women judge men by.
Right.
I also don't think it's the only thing that, like, I would rather have a guy that has fucked less people and is less of a hoe than a guy that's, like, fucking girls every week and has, like, girls on his dick. Like, I like the shy, quiet one. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what men judge other men by, I think, is a little disconnected from the reality, even though I do think some of the things that, like, women say perpetuate those stereotypes.
Yeah, and I think it's accurate as a man to feel like, based on the culture, it's like women want big dick, like, they want to be, like, you know, ripped the fuck open. Like, I get that, but it's also, like, it's like all women are different, though, you know? And it's like, I'm like, everyone wants a big dick. Like, I take that back. Like, some people really don't. Like, some people, like...
Some people could have a fetish for small... I don't
know.
A
fetish for small dicks, or, like, you know, they, like, sex hurts them for some reason.
Actually,
and they
the guy
can't,
that
like...
I dommed that would pay me to, like, sext him and stuff, like, he loved it when I told him his dick is, like, so small. I would never feel it if I fucked him. Like, da-da-da. Like... You know, like, people,
that's on having a humiliation kink.
It's a humiliation kink, but I do want to talk about another thing with men and, like, body shame or whatever that I was actually talking about. Like, I was asking the guy that I'm fucking with, like, oh, like, what do you know about, like, guys stuff? And he was like, I know, like, a lot of guys get really insecure if they drink alcohol and can't get hard.
Oh,
and that's,
they
like,
really
a thing.
do.
They
Remember?
really fucking do. Like, we've talked about this before because, like, this has happened to me so many times. And it's also happened to me with a guy that I dated for a long period of time, and it was performance anxiety for a month and a half. Like, he thought something was wrong with him. He talked to his dad. Like, it was like a whole thing. And, like, it's so sad because it's not that deep, guys. Like, I don't know. Like,
no, you know what's crazy, though, is because men get so insecure, like, I can't get hard. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if they're fucking a bitch and she's not getting wet, they also feel insecure. I can't get her wet. And it's because, like, women are so sexy. How could... It's not her fault because she bad as fuck. Like... I mean, sometimes if they're being a dick, like, oh, she didn't get me hard.
I feel like guys don't get as insecure about women not being wet. I feel like in my experience when I was fucking guys a lot when I was younger, they don't give a fuck. Like, they didn't, like, notice, like, whatever. But I feel like, I don't, because it's like, are we going to go back to our, realistically, if we're having a one-night stand with a dude and he, like, can't get hard because he's too drunk, are we going to go back to our girlfriends and be a little disappointed, a little irritated? Yes. But usually it is because they're forcing the fuck out of it and they're having a mental breakdown in front of your eyes when you're just like, it's okay, let's just cuddle or just finger me or eat me out or something, or it's fine. And they just, like, are spiraling in real live time. Like, no, I can do it. Like, no, I can do it. And it makes it so much worse because it's like, bro, just chill. It's okay.
It's literally only happened to me once. No, that's a lie. It happened to me once with one guy, and I went back for more, like 3 times to try again. It didn't work again because this man was on drugs. It was
the anxiety, though, too.
It was the anxiety. And then it also, like, on New Year's Eve, like, me and my ex-boyfriend, like, we would do, like Molly or whatever. And then, like, and it would really affect him. Like, he couldn't get hard, bro. And so, like, we would just, like, do other shit. And then I remember, like, the next day, this man fucked me for, like, 6 hours
because they're
straight.
They're trying to prove
because he needed to prove. And then I was like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, that's so crazy. We didn't have sex last night. He's like, we didn't? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, we did. Like, he tried to, like, forget. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I was like, whatever. Honestly, whatever.
No, because they literally lose their...
He was like, we didn't? I was like,
and then
please.
The crazy thing, too, I've had it happen where it's like they can't get hard, right? And it's, like, very clear, very obvious that I'm, like, trying to help them out here because they're just so insistent on keep going. And then it's like, okay, now I'm starting to feel insecure because I'm trying to help you out and you're so determined, but it's not working. Like, buddy, just let it go. Like, there will be other days. And I feel like that is the worst part about it because we're women. Like, we can't get wet sometimes. We're in our heads. Like, we get it and we're empathetic human beings. We're not going to be like, your dick's soft, get the fuck. Like,
yeah,
I
we're not
don't
going to
know.
be annoyed that happened to you and annoyed with you. We're not going to be annoyed that, like, that happened with you. We're going to be annoyed that you didn't get to fuck us because we're so, like, into you. Like, we wanted to have sex with you, so we're upset. Like, guys, like, it makes no sense.
It's so ridiculous.
Like, we're not going to hate on you, like, about that, for real. And honestly, we are going to do an episode in the future about performance anxiety, specifically, like, about dick sizes, getting hard, and, like, that shit, because it is really real, and it's definitely not talked about enough. But let's get into some listener stories. This first listener is definitely younger than us. Like, we're 26 and she's, like, a lot younger. So just putting that into perspective, because honestly, like, it does kind of change as you grow. But this listener said, I get scared for a guy to see me fully naked because I feel like most guys like super skinny girls. Also, all the guys I've fucked have been skinnier than me because guys are just fucking skinny. And then having, like, stomach rolls and stretch marks makes me uncomfortable. And I'm like, I don't want them to see me. That's why I always have sex at night or in the dark with an exclamation point. And that really hit me because I'm like, yes, like, it doesn't need to be, like, pitch black. But, like, I honestly feel like guys really are trying to fuck in, like, hospital fucking doctor lighting. Like, and it's, like, part of it is, like, okay, they want to see us, like, you know, but I'm just like, guys. Like, and I saw a bunch of TikToks that I'm not going to play because it's, like, copyright. It was all to, like, music, whatever. But it's, like, to a sound, and it's women being like, to the men that let me fuck with my t-shirt on because I'm insecure, and the song's, like, saying thank you, like Beyonce's song. So it's, you know, it's a thing. And I feel like this is just so valid, and it makes me sad. And I feel like when I was younger, I also felt like guys wanted skinny girls, but I also felt like internally maybe like I just wanted to be skinny. Yeah. And definitely just, like, growing up, like, and having dated for longer, like, there people like all different types of things. They really do. And honestly, it's like right now, like, you know, we had the 2000s, like, heroin chic, and it's honestly kind of coming back a little bit. It's not as BBL thick as it used to be, but it still is. Like, I feel like thick is definitely in, like, but I know like it's hard.
All of them, it's less, like, I don't know, because some of these stars on Ozempic that are taking it, like, it's giving, like, eating disorder, like, it just looks a little bit crazy. And I don't want to body shame skinny too, because I know when I was really skinny, I was really insecure when people would constantly tell me, oh my god, you look so much skinnier. Like, I didn't like hearing that either. But, like, yeah, I feel like, especially, like, getting into, like, womanhood, because honestly, when I was younger, I liked more muscular guys. But, like, as I got old, and I think it was body insecurity too, because, like, back then, like, it did feel like when you're younger, skinny is the thing to be. And I don't know if it's just because we're, like, developing. Like, I don't know. But as you get older, like, I've also heard the thing about childbearing hips and shit like that. Like, I feel like guys, like, have, like, I don't know, like, guys like womanly bodies that are developed versus when you're young. Like, you might be, like,
you look like an 11-year-old boy.
Or even if you're chubby or you're thicker or whatever, you're a child. Yeah. You know, so your body's not going to be, like, as shapely, or even if it is, then, you know, like, I don't know. It's just, like, a little iffy. But, like, I do think you grow out of it. Like, I used to be so insecure about fucking skinnier guys, but, like, the guy that I'm with now is skinnier than me, and I don't give a fuck. Like, I
definitely feel like when I was on top with my ex-boyfriend, it was a little bit, like, okay. Like, he was so skinny. Like, he had, like, a six-pack or whatever. And it's so crazy. It's, like, my whole life, like, my biggest thing has been, like, I don't have a flat stomach. And it's, like, even at my, like, quote-unquote thinner, more fit points, like, my stomach naturally, like, I hate the word, but it sticks out a little bit. But listen. And it's, like, just like what you said with the childbearing hips, I was like, this is honestly, like, for pregnancy. Like, no matter how clean I eat, no matter what the fuck I do, like, it's just the way my stomach is. Like, it really is. And, like, it's so crazy because I've always just, like, flat stomach. Like, even now, sometimes I still want it. but I'm not like, ooh, abs. Like, you know how people go crazy about abs, dude? And I'm talking women, men, whoever. Like, abs, like, yeah, it's hot. Like, you run your hand down it, like, okay. But it's not what does it for me. And it's just so bizarre that, like, your biggest insecurity isn't even something that you're attracted to. Yeah. And it's just also confusing.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, I used to be so insecure about, like, right below my belly button. You know how it's, like, that part, like, sticks out? But, like, even when I was, like, super thin, like, starving myself out of some depression shit, like, that was still there. And also, like, my ribs, like, I was always insecure because I have a big rib cage that it makes me look more like my stomach. Like, I don't know. But
and
yeah,
I think it's so hot. Like,
right. Like, and I actually had a girl one time, like, reply to my story who's like super hot, like, and she was like, oh my God, like, your ribs are like so attractive to me. And I'm like, okay, like, the things that you find like the most insecure are like hot to other people. And it makes me think of this TikTok that I saw. I forget what the insecurity was, but this girl had posted like a regular ass fucking TikTok, like talking or doing something, and some girl commented like, oh, like, it's so nice to see like women owning their like thick thighs or something like that. And it's like, that's like a weird ass thing to say, because it's like, she's not even thinking of that insecurity, but you're commenting on it because you're insecure. And it's like, you would think that in your head, but when you're saying that,
it's giving you, I wish I was that confident to post this photo.
Like,
bitch, what? Like, it's not giving what you think it is. And I feel like y'all know that by now. So it's like, why is it still... But I have a quick stripper story. So if you guys don't know, Fiji and I are both retired sex workers. Yeah, whatever you want to say. So there was this one positive experience, which I feel like for some people this wouldn't have been positive. But, like, I just want you guys to understand, like, for me, it really was, like, genuinely. So I was in VIP with this guy. And, like, he was a gem of a VIP because he just wanted to talk. Like, I was, like, fully naked on top of him. But he wasn't even touching me. Like, I was just, like, looking like a fucking goddess, okay?
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't, like, he didn't bring it up. Like, I think, like, I brought it up. And, like, he kept saying, like, oh, my God, your body, like, going crazy. And I was like, really? Like, I'm honestly, like, kind of insecure. Like, thanks, whatever. Like, and he's like, what the fuck are you insecure about? And I was like, I mean, like, my stomach. He was like, oh, my God. He was like, that's, like, my favorite thing about you. And, like, it was, like, this weird, and, like, I was, like, on, like, Adderall was, like, super, like, you guys have to understand, like, this was not, like, I was in this universe, in this world where, like, I did feel safe with this man, and, like, he was just, like, touching my stomach, like, he would, like, rub his hand up and down, be like, no, like, this is so sexy, like, this is perfect, like, never, like, whatever, and, like, I'll never forget that. He was such a good guy. He was actually friends with one of the security guards that, like, I was tight with. So I knew he was, like, safe because, like, they set it up, like, whatever. Like, but that's so is a real core memory because, and he was, like, a thin white man. And, like, I've had this idea, and, like, in the strip club, like, white men were the men that came up to me the least or approached me the least.
Same.
And in my head, I'm like,
because
white men don't like thick bitches, girls, which is false as fuck, you know, and they're, like, wrong. But I, like, was thinking that. And so, like, the fact that he was, like, a white man, like, made it, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
you were just, like, it was a like, healing trauma. Because I do think that is a thing. Like, I remember one time when I was in high school, like, a guy said to me, like, oh, you have, like, you're a black guy's girl.
Oh, because I've had that so many times.
Which is a fucked up stereotype. Like, insane. But I do think the body shaming does come, like, in my experience, a lot more from white men. Like, prioritizing, like, skinny bodies and shit like that. But, like, besides that, I also wanted to say, like, I don't know, you're not on Twitter as much, but, like, I remember there was, like, this picture that was going viral where, like, guys were talking about how this is the hottest thing about when a girl wears, like, a skin-tight dress. And it was just a zoomed-in picture of, like, the stomach pouch.
Yeah,
which is something
I've seen
I get the
memes
most.
Like that.
I get the most insecure, like, when I wear my Skims, which is, like,
and when you, like, sit down.
When you sit or when you're, like, whatever, like, I always put my underwear up so you can see like more of the curve, like whatever.
Obsessed,
but like I'm
babe, me too.
insecure
I
about
know.
that stomach. But like guys are like, oh, that's like so sexy. But I think it's like so important for us to hear it from men sometimes. Like I'm thinking like Kendrick's album when he was talking about cellulite and like whatever, like that type of stuff is just like, you know,
that was literally like, that was like, people went crazy over that line.
Yes.
Because, and it's, oh my God, I'm so glad we're talking about this. It's such a weird thing, but and it's like, that can't be all. Like, it's not like men validate you, boom, you're fixed. Like, that's a small piece of it because it comes from within. And we don't need men to validate us, blah, blah, blah. But, like, when you live in this patriarchy and, like, have these raw and honest conversations and are surprised by a men's point of view, like, it does feel good, you know? And
yeah, because you see, like, Sports Illustrated with the swimsuit models and Victoria's Secret and all these like super thin girls with like big boobs or whatever was trending, and you're like, all the posters, the porn stars, whatever, you're like, that's not me. So it comes down to like beauty standards, but also like what men find attractive. Like if you're heterosexual, you do care about it. So like it helps to be like, oh, like they see me as sexy, you know? Right.
So we kind of went on a tangent, but I want to bring us back to this concept of like having sex in the dark. So I'm going to play this TikTok from the 949 podcast.
Do girls prefer having sex or doing sexual stuff in the dark?
I prefer dark.
I feel like all girls
like
prefer
pitch black.
No.
But pretty dark though.
Like one bathroom light on.
Dude, I like it kind of bright, bro. I want to see you, man. There's a reason I'm trying to like
really
fuck
like
you, bro.
top of the morning type shit.
Oh, I love that.
No, genuinely.
I'm trying to see you because I fuck with you. You know what I'm saying?
From my perspective, like from a girl's, it's more of like girls' body dysmorphia thing.
Like a little insecure type.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel that.
Guys are so much more confident with their bodies.
Like they look have to though.
Why?
Think about it. If a guy's like not confident in his body, right?
I think it's
just
more
weird.
like the guy doesn't care.
Yeah, and we also don't care what you look like too. Like
True.
if you didn't shave your legs, like dude, we're not gonna notice that.
Yeah.
Also, like I like getting ready. Like,
really?
I
think that's why they made that term appointment. It really is an appointment for you guys.
It is an
appointment. Like you guys have a lot of stuff to do and get ready beforehand.
It's a whole event. So true.
Honestly, they're hilarious. I kind of want to listen to their podcast because the whole dick appointment thing. But yeah, I do feel like guys want like full lights up, full like doctor lighting where they can see your whole ass, pussy, like whatever. And it's just like, I don't know. Like I feel like it's also like a mood thing. Like to me, it feels more like romantic, sensual in the dark. Like why are we fucking, like unless we're fucking, I don't know, in the daylight somewhere like on some exhibitionism shit. But like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I know. I just thought it was funny and like, she was like, well, like so wholesome, was like, well, it's just kind of like body dysmorphia. And he's like, oh, yeah. Like, he didn't even think about that, right? And I think it's so interesting on how, you know, one of the women was like, guys are so much more confident in their body. And he was like, well, we have to be, you know, because an insecure man that's like not confident in his body, it's like, like women won't want him. That's the underlying idea. And so it's just like, it's tea, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was actually thinking that this could just be because I'm like fucking with one person right now who I really enjoy the sex. So I just like admire him and like love the sex, whatever. But I remember seeing this TikTok also of this guy trying to coach his girlfriend into like being on top, like being the guy. And he was like, no, but you gotta like hold her hair now, choke her now, like thrust, like whatever. And it was so fucking funny because she was like incapable of doing it. And it's like, guys, like they have different muscles than us. Like their bodies are set up differently. But like after that TikTok, I was just thinking about my man because my favorite position is to be on my stomach with one leg out, like from the back, like he's over me. I'm just like, that is low key like a lot of work. Like you need to be like confident and you need to be like working. Like I'm just kind of laying there and like talking dirty and like
girl,
looking
please.
cute.
That's
but,
why
like,
I fucking love straight sex for real. Because
like,
I mean, I know you're not just laying there the whole time. Like you go in, suck his dick. Like
I suck the fuck out of his dick. That's the work I put in. But like, you know, like I'm just like, damn, because I haven't been on top. Like,
yeah, you're like
him. I'm like, I'm good right now.
Because you used to love. You're like, on top's my favorite.
But like, I also feel like when I used to be on top a lot more, I was more in shape. And I'm not just talking like body. I'm talking like strength. Where, like, I was
Stamina.
not going to get like tired being
Yeah.
on top as much versus now, like I feel like that would be an insecurity for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they be like putting in like fucking work.
Bro, and like as a
damn.
queer person, like this is so heteronormative, but like I feel like when I fuck a girl, like I have to be like that, like choking
Yeah.
her while all this
But
other
like when
shit.
you're like
But that's heteronormative.
scissoring or like I don't know, like what it like
Edging.
you know, like dry humping, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're both moving, so it's not like in the positions that I've done it, it's like been on your side or like whatever. Like I have had a girl on top of me, like kind of. But yeah, being on
But
top
I've
in that
had
way,
like girls dom me and like I'm so sub, like barely fucking move. And like that's what I consider like straight sex. Because for me, if I'm gonna fuck a guy, like I'm not doing
you don't want to do
shit.
anything.
I will suck your dick, whatever, but like I'm not doing shit. You know what I
Like
mean?
you
Because
put the work in the sucking dick. But like
I
I,
do.
need to get better about like because
but I'm not fucking you. Like you need to fuck me.
It's like, who do you think especially like to be a girl and like be like, that is so much work. It's
Dude,
so much work.
that's why I'm just like, and you know, women deserve it. Like if a woman's gonna let me fuck her, like she deserves for me to go all out.
Yeah.
Like fucking ready. So yeah, but I love
but
that
I
podcast.
cannot see you being like,
Bro,
a
because
top
it's
and
never
wear a
happened.
guy.
It's never fucking happened.
I
and
would
it-
pay money. I'm screaming.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe with this hair, like I'll like magically. No. I'm
Dom
fucking
femme.
this up. Yeah, I'm like my dream. No, I think I just want to be with a dom femme. I don't think I'm gonna be. Like I honestly just like I want to look like one, but like not really be one.
But when
you
it
know?
comes to the actual sex, you still
I'm
wanna
like
be a
just
sub.
kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like switch, whatever. Okay, so but yeah, shout out 949 Podcast. You guys should check them out. This next listener submitted a story and said, I had a surgery last year, basically a C-section, and haven't had sex since because I have a postpartum body and a C-section scar now, but no baby. And I messaged this person back and I was like, oh my goodness, like, thank you so much for sharing. And we'll, you know, definitely tell your story. It's like, this is horrible, but at the same time, like, you know, my heart is just like with her because I can't even imagine going through something like that. But girl, you're still fine as hell. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and
you're,
a lot of people think, like, guys, girls, whatever you fuck with, do think that's, like, attractive, like, admire you. I mean, when I first read this, I thought, like, oh, postpartum body, like, she had a baby, which I think is also another group of women that are really insecure with sex and stuff because, like, whether it's a C-section scar or, like, vaginal birth, like, your body does change. Things can rip. Like, it can be, it can feel, like, different, like, whatever. And that's, like, a whole, like, both of us have never had kids. But I, honestly, guys, I was supposed to have surgery for my endometriosis, which was supposed to be 2 little tiny scars on the sides of my stomach. And I chose not to have it once I realized that there would be scars. So, like, I feel you. Like, it is real. Like, I don't think, like we said, like, the things we find insecure, that we're insecure about, other people probably won't or will admire you for it. Like, whenever I've had a partner that has had scars, I'm always like, oh, this is a story. Like, I want to know about it. Like, I think it's, like, sexy. But yeah, like that's real. Like, it's a real insecurity to have.
but just know, like Fiji said, like you're not alone. Like this is something that a lot of women deal with, and anyone that has like that sort of like extreme scarring on your body. It's like there's so many things, right? It's like your weight, the hair, the scars. I mean, it's fucking
A birthmark,
exhausting.
even like
I know.
all this stuff.
I know.
Actually, guys, I do have a birthmark. Not a
Actually.
birthmark, a scar. I have a scar actually that I forgot about that, but it is an insecurity. Okay, so one time me and Autumn were like drunk as fuck. We jumped a fence.
Oh no.
A fence pole, like metal.
Because
wrought
I got
iron.
us kicked out of the function.
And we wanted to go play in a fountain. Like, it was some drunk, young, stupid bitch shit. I was wearing a skirt and fishnets. I tried to jump this fence. The metal wrought iron pole went into my asshole. Into my asshole. And if you think of these wrought iron fences, they are pointy at the top, but they also have a little, like, kind of ball at the top. So whatever it did, when it came out, when my ex had to literally lift me off of it, blood bleeding down my leg, like fishnets completely ripped, like one of the folds of my asshole got like pulled out a little bit, which I'm confused. Is that a hemorrhoid? Because like people have like said that before. Like I've gone to the skin doctor and they said I could get it like clipped or fixed or whatever. I am insecure about it, or always like used to be. Again, I'm with a consistent partner, so like I don't really give a fuck anymore.
Story, everyone is probably like
I know I've told it so many times that I'm just like, yeah. It was
like think about the worst thing imaginable, basically, because that's what happened.
It is what happened, and it hurt, but like,
and we like made a fucking like. We like freestyled after that.
Like we were just out and about, asshole rip.
I would have been like, I'm going to the.
Which is why people wear butt plugs before you fuck in the ass. Like if there's, which I've never done anal. Like personally, it's not really what I'm into, especially after this scar. But like if you ever do anal, like use butt plugs and like open your asshole more, or else like a little fence can go up you and fuck you up like it did to me. But I'm insecure about it, especially fucking from the back where they can completely see cheek spread asshole. Like that is another like disclosure that I've given men
like
before.
Honestly stressful enough without.
I've told the wax lady, because you know how you get a Brazilian,
your disclosures.
I'm just like, just so you know, I have a little fold there.
Women be like,
and they're like, okay, like I see 1,000 pussies and assholes a day. Like you are good.
No.
You know? That shit is real. Like I totally forgot about that. It's really just because I'm fucking this one consistent person where I'm like cool, calm, like, you know, like I'm comfortable. But when we first started fucking, like I was definitely insecure about that. So like, girl, I feel you, but like he didn't even notice. Like most people are not gonna notice. And like if you're really fucking with someone consistently where you feel insecure about that type of stuff, start with in the dark until like you know that they really love your body, like to make you
like,
more
or talk to them about it low key. Like just get
like,
it.
Give a disclosure.
If you feel okay, like if that's gonna make it worse, obviously don't do it. Like you know yourself. But I feel like sometimes just getting it out there in the open, like,
and also
like oh my god. Okay, go ahead.
No, real quick, I was just going to say, usually when I give these bullshit disclosures, guys, like, usually when I give them, what has made me not give them is to realize as soon as the words come out of my mouth how insane I sound.
And that
because
it doesn't
almost
matter.
Always the look on their face is like, okay. Like, it's not like, oh my God. Like,
they're like, okay, yeah, we shouldn't.
Like, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just say it, but go ahead.
Because I remember this time, this just popped into my head. Like, honestly, didn't think about this until just now. But basically, I remember, like, I was feeling insecure about, like, my stomach or whatever. And, like, I opened up to my ex-partner about it. And, like, it was really hard. But, like, he just, like, he really said all the right things. And he was, like, he said something, like, because I was talking about roles. And he was, like, and I know some people be like, he acknowledged you had roles, but like, he was like, I love your roles. Like, I love grabbing you. And like, I just like, it felt good to me. I've never had anyone say to me, I love your roles.
Yeah.
And so I immediately like fucking start crying. Like it hit. And so I just feel like sometimes take the leap, you know, like they might make you feel better about it, or just like be a listening ear, because it's most of the time about us. It's not about like what the other person feels. Sometimes it might be if you're with an asshole, but like most of the time it's like, even if your partner's like, oh, you're beautiful, it's like, okay, I don't feel it though, you know?
Right.
But for me in that moment, like it was healing. But yeah, there's just so much to say about this topic. I want to put us back in that space of kind of like the difference between like, you know, anticipating a meetup to go have sex versus like meeting in real life spontaneously.
Yeah.
So we asked
when
you guys
drunk.
when you're drunk and loose, right? We asked you guys, have you ever chosen not to have sex or go on a date because of how you felt about your body? And 58% said yes, and 42% said no. And as I said at the beginning of the episode, like I'm dealing with this right the fuck now, bitch, in the present moment. So it's hard, but it is kind of that anticipation, like build up. And I know that if I just went for it, like it would be cool. Like I know I'm cute. Like at the end of the day, I gained a little weight, whatever. Like it's fine.
And if they're going on a date with you or want to link up to
here's the thing, Fiji. Like, I do feel like sometimes, like, IG pics can be misleading. Like, the last time I posted a full body.
But you don't face tune your body. Which,
I
like,
don't.
also, guys, like, catfit, like, I do feel like kind of like if you Facetune the fuck out of your body and like your face or whatever, and then you meet up with someone and they're like a little taken off or whatever, it's kind of like, okay, like that's
like do whatever you want, but it's also valid.
But also like
for the other person, it's like
the other person, you're setting yourself up a little bit for them to be like, what the fuck? Because think about how you would feel in that situation.
Like guys do that shit. Like you meet up with them on a date and you're like, what the fuck? Like both, like all genders do that. You know, it's not exclusive to women.
Like, that happened to me. A guy, he had posted pictures of himself from like years ago, and then I saw him in person, and that's not what he looked like. It's like, just show an accurate representation of yourself, because then at least you know that the person you're meeting up with like knows what you actually look like. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up to like fail.
And I also think, like, not to be egotistical, but I do think I'm someone that looks better like in movement. Like, you know, like some people look good in videos and some people look good still. Yeah, and I do feel like I'm someone where I look good in movement and like in real life. Like sometimes I feel like I don't think I'm like the worst. Like I'm so not photogenic, but I don't think it's my calling to be like a model. Though. Like that's not my best, like, but like have a podcast and be cute talking. Yeah, I'm like, it's working. In the right industry. Whatever. But I was surprised with these numbers though, honestly, and this is so like, again, going back to like men and validation and like all that stuff. But like I noticed that there were a good amount of men on like my polls that voted yes as well, which like I don't know, like to me it's just one of those things where it's like I think so often that like because of patriarchy and because of beauty standards, women like, are the only ones with insecurities, and men are just like completely confident and don't give a fuck. But like to see that and like those little things when men talk about it, it puts us on an even playing field too, kind of, you know what I'm saying, where you're like, oh, like it's not just me. Like they're probably nervous too. They're probably this guy's. They definitely are.
Yeah, like performance anxiety. Like, oh, is she gonna think my dick is big?
They're thinking more about them than what you look like.
Exactly. Like we're both on the
just
same
like we're thinking
field.
About more what we look like.
Exactly. So like when you put it into perspective, like we're all going through the same shit, and like I think it's also like me personally, I don't think I've ever not gone on a date because of my body. I've gone on a date because I felt not great, like depression wise or just like other shit.
Yeah.
But like it's also okay to like if you're not feeling great about yourself and you don't want to go on this date, don't too, you know, like
but it's okay. Like if it gets to be a year, like
if it's Autumn? A pattern, then like you need to push yourself out of your comfort zone and like it's so much harder with like Hinge or like Bumble where it's just online,
right?
Because it's not just the anxiety of like what they're gonna think you look like, but also just if you're gonna like them and like everything else.
And I also feel confident that it's time for me to just go out, because I feel like some people would feel like literally unsafe, like they're gonna have a panic attack or something. Like I don't feel like that. I literally feel like I'm just like I need to just get over it, you know. Yeah. So it's like, make that own judgment for yourself, for sure. But like, it's time for me to snap the fuck out of it. Okay, so we're going to move into some like advice, like some more stories, but partnered with advice. Like, what should we do about this? And advice about your body can get redundant, in my opinion, you know? Yeah. And honestly, I didn't even put this in the outline, but like, if you guys know what body neutrality is, it's basically like, it's not body positive. It's not body shaming. It's like, it's just body is a body. It's indifferent to me. Like, you know, and Drew Afawalo is someone that, I don't know if she still does, like things change, but she was someone that put me onto that. I honestly I didn't even know what the fucking word meant. Because I think some body positive spaces are like not really body positive. And so, and I do think the idea of like the original quote at the beginning by Roxane Gay, you know, we are more than our bodies. Like that, why is that such a fucking big thing? You see someone for like, that's just our culture. Forget the men and women patriarchy. Then, people lose and gain weight no matter what the fuck you look like. That's the first thing someone will say when you see them, even if it's your own father, not a real example. Yeah. So it's like, it's really hard, and I just got so passionate. What was
No,
I?
but one other thing about body neutrality, I read this book. I forget like who it's by or what it's called. Sorry guys, it's been a couple years. But she was talking about body neutrality, and she was giving this example of like her young daughter was like playing with like the grandmother's like arm flaps, like her arm fat, and she was just like, oh my God, like it's like a helicopter, like whatever. And then another family member was like, oh, don't do that, like don't do that, because that's like, you know, like we look at that as, oh, it's fat, like, oh, it's bad.
But the child
she
is
was
not.
she was just saying like, oh, the child thinks it's fun, thinks it's beautiful, thinks it's, oh, look at like my
It's
grandmother with
joy.
these fun, like it's a thing to play with, you know? So like that's body neutrality, is like when you're a little kid before the world puts everything on you,
Where it
you're
kills
looking
you.
at like you're looking at bodies like, oh my God, my grandma has these cool fun arm flaps and like I love it, you know? But then like the adult telling her, oh no, that's bad, then you come to think like, oh, this is fat, this is something I should like avoid talking about.
Yeah.
Which is not,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So
But
all that to say, like the advice shit, it's like, you know, take what you want and leave what you don't, because I do feel like with body shaming and the culture, it's on everyone to like do what feels right to them. And I honestly can't recommend Hunger enough, guys. Like you
I want to
should
read it, yeah.
read that book by Roxane Gay, but just wanted to preface that, but we are going to try our best to like dig deep and really just like give some, you know, tips. And obviously we went to the internet for tips as well. So this article from Mamma Mia is called, quote, "You'd be hotter if you lost weight," end quote, "the post-sex comment that changed the way I saw myself." So this woman said, "You'd be hotter if you lost weight. I mean, you are hot now, but you'd be even hotter." Those were the words said to me just after I'd finished having sex with a man for the first time. Pillow talk had been replaced with body shaming. It was one of those moments when my brain had to process it because it seemed ridiculous. How could someone say something like that? Particularly after he'd just been inside me. I mean, rude doesn't even cover it. Once the words did hit me, I felt embarrassed and angry at the same time. I pulled the sheet up to cover my body, although I already felt far too exposed. Finally, I calmly asked him to leave. He was confused when I asked him to go, and he told me that I was overreacting and suggested that I was getting too angry to have the upper hand in the relationship going forward. So basically, this person said, paraphrasing, she went back to her plus size friends about this experience, and she came out with this. Quote, "The ugly truth is that plenty of men try to exert power in a relationship by shaming and belittling the person they are dating or sleeping with. And yes, that means sometimes they'll body shame you." While that news wasn't exactly comforting, at least it really cemented the fact that his words had nothing to do with my body and everything to do with him. See, I made this mistake of trying to rationalize it. I was looking for a reason why he'd say those words specifically to me without realizing it had nothing to do with me. Even though I felt understood it more, it still took me a little while to date again because I needed to make sure I was in a place where I wasn't desperately on the hunt for validation. I needed to sit with the experience for a little bit and move past it on my own. So I spent a few months listening to Lizzo, buying underwear that made me feel sexy, and being kind to myself. I let my confidence rebuild naturally, and I didn't try to get another man to fix it for me. So I feel like what we can take away from this, it's like definitely go to people that you love and trust to like talk about it if a bad experience like this does happen. And I think it's like, it has nothing to do with you, you know? It has everything to do with this person and what they view as attractive based on this fucked up world that they grew up in. And it's on them for not unlearning it and doing the work to understand why they're only attracted to like fucking thin white women. Like, yeah. I don't know, but it's a lot, and you do need to take the time to sit with yourself and rebuild that confidence aside from validation, like what we talked about. Sometimes it's, you need a little validation, and sometimes it's like, that's not what I need right now. And listen to your inner voice, that a lot of us shove down, and what is that telling you,
Yeah, and I really like what you said about like going to like people that you love and trust and know you and see you as like a whole person, and also have maybe like struggled with like similar things, because like honestly as women I feel like most of us can like get together regardless of your body shape and share something that like someone has said at some point or some media that you've consumed that has made you feel insecure about your body. But like end of the day, like you shouldn't be fucking or going on dates with like anyone that makes comments like that, because it's just like no. And I love this woman for like realizing her worth, telling him to leave, and like, because I don't know if I would be that strong. Like, you know, like I think about myself in positions like that where men have said other things maybe not related to my body or like my personality or something, where it's like you kind of just put up with it and smile through it and
now,
internalize it.
Even
but now, like
you
now
wouldn't.
I feel like no. Again, I'm with a partner that I feel like
It's
good,
hard,
so, like,
I know.
it's fine. It's different, but like, yeah, like it's really on like standing on fucking business and being like, no, like I love my body. I know someone will love my body and appreciate it for all that it is. And maybe I'm just not your fucking type. And that's cool, but that has nothing to do with like my desirability, my sexuality, like my ability to be seen as beautiful.
Facts, bitch. Exactly. So another story that we're going to read that again is partnered with some advice in the comments this time is this Reddit post entitled "Sex is Terrifying." And this is from the point of view of a female who is 21 years old. So she said, I have avoided having sex because of how insecure I am about my body. I've rejected people I really liked solely because of how scared I would be to get naked in front of them. I'm sick and tired of this feeling and how it's held me back from being in a relationship and exploring my sexuality. Okay. I want to be intimate with people, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to get rid of the thoughts telling me that they didn't like what they were seeing and wish that their partner, me, would lose weight to be more attractive to them. Curves and rolls look so beautiful and sexy on other women. I just wish I felt the same about myself. Preach. Despite everything that I tried to do to reassure myself that I'm pretty, there has been too long of a history of being bullied by people, especially family. Fuck, is this girl me? Just kidding.
Yep.
For me to believe it about myself. For anyone else that has felt this way and has a sex life, do you have any advice? What made you feel okay being intimate with your partners and still feel sexy and desired? And before we respond, I want to read some responses in the comments. So this one person commented some advice and said, when I found a partner I was really attracted to, I stopped thinking about my body in aesthetic terms and just in terms of the pleasure it could give me and him. We have an incredible sex life and I hope you can find one too. Someone else said, okay, I gained a lot of weight in a short amount of time. During that time, I stopped having sex because I felt so insecure about my body. Recently, I started hanging out with someone that I really like. He made the first move. I took that as a good indicator that he didn't have a problem with my weight. So my advice is put yourself out there. Honestly, once you're into it, it's just not an issue. Sex haze is real. And then lastly, someone said, if being naked bothers you, then just don't be naked. There's no rule that says birthday suit or bust. Wear a baby doll, a lace nightie. Heck, I've met plenty of guys that are turned on by a big t-shirt with no panties. Make your own comfort rules. Don't like the bright lights but want romance? Light a bunch of candles. The only rule with sex is that it's consensual and fun. In the original poster of the comment said, big t-shirt with no panties makes dudes absolutely feral. It's like hardwired into their brains or something. And real quick, I just want to say, I just thought of this, but the commenter that said, I gained weight in a short period of time and I was afraid to go on dates. And it's like, because I've thought about this myself. I'm like, but new people don't know what I looked like before. Like, they're not going to be seeing me damn, she gained weight, because they've never seen me. You know what I mean? So that's tea. I just thought of that.
Is tea. That definitely is tea. I've had someone, one time a dude swiped up on my story of me. I was a picture of me in the gym and was like, oh, good thing you're in the gym because you gained weight.
I remember.
That was so insane. People are so fucking cruel. But you're right. New people haven't seen you. Fuck that dude. I blocked him. But this made me think of two things. One, with the original story, when she talked about seeing other women with curves or whatever and thinking it's hot and beautiful. But then when it comes to yourself, I remember, like, this is a core memory for me, and I feel like it's part of, like, me, like, an early queer memory and also an early body memory, because I remember being in Catholic school. I was probably in, like, 6th grade. Yeah, and we had cheerleaders.
And
We
you're
only
like,
had a basketball
damn.
team and cheerleaders, but there was one girl who was, like, the head of the cheerleader. She was a couple years older than me. She was like a senior, but she was like thick, right? She was thick. She had thick thighs, and she was leading. She was doing, and I was like, damn, like she's hot as fuck.
Right.
And I was insecure about my thighs at the time, like being a small little 6th grader. Like my thighs were nothing, you know, but like seeing her not only made me feel like, oh, thick thighs are sexier, but also like, oh, maybe I might be gay. But like that wasn't until much later that I actually like put that together,
But now you're
you know,
like,
but
yeah.
now I'm like, okay, that was a core gay memory. But also this made me think of like the story where she was talking about the partner that like really like initiated it and liked her for her. Like,
Oh,
have you seen the show This Is Us? I think it's called This Is Us.
briefly, but it's so long. I haven't seen the whole
It's
thing.
so long. Like the
It's
episodes
good,
are like
though.
30 minutes. My parents recommended it to me, but like
Me
there's this
too!
right. I watched like the first season like in background noise. I only really watched the first couple episodes, but like if you're struggling with something like that, like low key watch this show because it's so wholesome. It's very like family, like people go through shit, like life shit, but like one of the sisters, she's like, you know, she's like a fat girl and like she's very insecure. Like growing up, she was always insecure about her weight. She's in this diet program, whatever. And when she's in this diet program, she meets this other man who's also fat. And he's like, fuck this. Like, I think you're beautiful. And like, she's trying to hide all her insecurities and like, whatever. The relationship like progresses. But like, throughout it, it's like you're watching her like be insecure about her stuff. And like, he's just like, no, like, fuck all that. That's all internal shit. Like, I love you. Like, I think you're so sexy. Like, I want to have sex, but it's just like her inability to like get over it.
Yeah.
So like watching that was like, it was just, and he was hilarious as fuck. Like, they're both like great actors. But yeah, I feel like having a partner, like, not that you need like external validation. It doesn't fix what's internal.
Right, but
it does help.
It's like you have to choose and like understand like what's your intention behind that. Like, is it to feel good like with your partner, or is it to just, you know, keep you from crying later? You know, like,
well, because also Kat in Euphoria.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
Remember how she started cam girling
Oh.
and then got more confidence in her
Right.
sexuality, and I think we did too. Honestly, me stripping, and I was very insecure at the time. I was so skinny, guys, but it was like depression skinny, like bordering on anorexia. I don't know, but like I did feel more confident when I was stripping. So like you don't have to go that far, but even like try like taking sexy pictures of yourself, like dancing to music, like doing sexual things like alone in your room to like see your body that way, like in front of the mirror. Like, I think that helps. You know?
And if you're someone, like, some advice from me, like, if you're someone that, like, feels like you're a nurturer, or, like, the idea of, like, nurturing something, like, I think about, like, what would I, because whenever you take yourself out of it, what would I give advice to someone else? So, like, if I had a child, like, my younger sister, like, what would I want for them, and why don't you want the same for yourself? Like, that's really helped me.
Your inner child.
Like, yeah, and like I think about like if I had a daughter that was struggling with this, like what would I do, you know, to like make her feel better, like just give her the space to grow up in like a truly like body positive, body neutral home, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like you would want the best for them, right? Like you would want them to be confident. You would want them to just, you know, be them and understand that like everyone's body is different. And like I said, like you can be so fit, eating healthy, but your bone structure, your body, it just is, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like some things, like some people have bigger muscles, some people don't. Like that's just how it is, or bigger bones.
Bone
even.
Structures, yeah.
Right.
All of
And
those
it's
things.
like you just have to learn to kind of accept that. And it's fucking hard. And it takes years and a lifetime even, and it's damn near impossible in our fucking culture, but like there is a way, you know, you can find community with people that are existing and truly like body positivity, like body neutral, whatever you're down for. And so that's kind of my best advice there.
Yeah. Period.
So just to touch on some more advice, let's bring it back to Roxane Gay's book or memoir, Hunger. Another quote that we really liked by her was, I buried the girl I had been because she ran into all kinds of trouble. I tried to erase every memory of her, but she is still there somewhere. She is still small and scared and ashamed, and perhaps I am writing my way back to her, trying to tell her everything she needs to hear. And I think it's like a tendency to kind of just like reject the hard stuff and kind of just like push it down and be like, well, I'm going to change. I'm going to have this new outlook. But it's like, you can't, rather than erase those thoughts and insecurity feelings that you're feeling, it's like try to like work through them more and like get to like the root problem,
Yes.
And not just like brush it off. You need to, it's like that inner child. Like you need to like talk to yourself like you are literally like a friend and you're like outside of your body sometimes.
Yeah, you need to like confront it at a certain point because it's
when
like,
you're ready.
I think, yeah, and that doesn't mean confront it with like, oh, if your insecurity is like your stomach or something like that, that does not mean confront it with, oh, I'm going to start this crazy diet and I'm going to go to the gym and like da-da-da. It's more like the source of like why you feel that way and like how to make yourself like feel better in a way of genuinely like loving yourself and the little girl, boy person like inside you
kind of way.
Yeah, inner child vibes.
Yeah. So just last plug, read the memoir, guys. It's really good. And then I wanted to include this as well because we were not really talking about like, couples and like how to navigate that when you're dating someone. Well, we did a little bit actually, but
yeah,
this is like, I love this podcast, guys. It's called Staying Up with Cammie and Taryn. Cammie Scott is someone that I've followed since like 2016. She's just an influencer, like skincare. She's a lesbian. Fucking love her. Smart, hot, all the things. So this is a TikTok directly from their podcast.
But sex anxiety is real. That was something we got asked about a lot as well.
Totally.
How do you feel that we fare in the sex anxiety space?
I think one is we get self-conscious about our bodies.
Yeah.
I think we both kind of struggle with that. And
Yeah.
then we put it on the other one of like, oh my gosh, you don't want my body because I don't like the way my body looks right now,
Yeah.
which is so silly. And I think actually when you are feeling insecure about your body, sometimes having sex with somebody that loves you and loves your body is like
Makes you
really
feel
affirming.
so
It
much
feels
better.
really good. I'm like, oh wait, maybe I'm not loving my body right now, but she does. And that's really special.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people can relate to like if you're feeling insecure about your body and you kind of put it on your partner
Yes.
and like projecting that onto them, but it's like they don't even feel that way.
Yeah.
So I think again, like confronting it and like having that conversation, like if this is a relationship that is worth it, like these conversations need to happen. They're gonna happen, even if you're someone that never had an eating disorder and you don't really feel like you have bad body image issues. Like anything can happen in your life, one, and also like all humans feel that. Like we're not perfect.
Yeah.
Like that's a part of being human. Some people feel it a lot more heavier, but it's like in a relationship, you're gonna need to like talk about this shit,
Yeah, and I think especially like back to what we were saying before about like confronting your insecurities and stuff, because like where it can get scary is when you are projecting those things. Like maybe you do have a partner and like maybe they just don't want to fuck tonight because they're literally stressed the fuck out with work
Right,
or
and
something
you're like-
else. But you are so insecure about your stomach rolls or your body hair or something like that. And now all of a sudden like you're projecting that onto them and then you're not seeing them for the space that they're in, and it's creating like a disconnect in your relationship. So like that's why it's so important to like confront it like within yourself and also like with your partner, which hopefully is a safe space so that you don't create like toxicity when there isn't any.
Agreed. Because it's just going to make it worse. You're already
Yeah.
feeling shitty and now you're like having conflict, so just nip it in the bud type of situation. Like just get it
Yes.
out there. And so to kind of just wrap up in, our last poll that we want to share, we asked you guys, are you actively working on having a better body image? And 57% said yes. 24% said, I feel confident in my body. And 19% said, girl, I'm tired. And I definitely am under the girl, I'm tired. Like, I feel like I've been working on it since I was 12 years old, and like I'm fucking tired, and like it's always something new, and like so if you're feeling like that, like it's exhausting, which obviously some of you are that voted. It's like, you know, I think we just have to understand that there's always going to be ebbs and flows. You know, even though I'm tired, I can recognize that like there were parts of last year where I didn't feel like this. Like this is kind of a relatively new thing, and it's always a little bit better. Like I think as I've gotten older, it's less heavy and like doomsday. It's the end of the fucking world.
Yeah.
And I think growing up just helps and like time, but it's valid to feel tired. It really is. And it's like, again, all the body positivity movements, like they're not all really body positive. So I feel like the country might feel like, you know, we're putting quote unquote fat people on billboards and it's like everything's so crazy, but it's not. Like you still like people still go to the store and like they don't have their size ever. Like, you know, it's not like actual real change. It's just like little bitsies of things, and it's like a new you know, market, I guess, which the brands love. Obviously now they have a whole new, you know, so it's tough and it's valid to feel tired. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's definitely valid to feel tired. I think I put yes for this because I feel like it's like a lifelong thing. Like, I mean, as like women, if you ever plan to have kids one day or like whatever, your body's going to go through changes. And like one thing I feel like I've struggled with, like I said earlier, is like my body has changed so much in these different eras of my life. And it's so scarily closely tied to my mental health. And like, but the weird thing is that at the end of the day, like I'm still like, I have to remind myself like I am the same person. Like I because I look at pictures of myself and I'll be like, oh my God, like that's a different body. Like that's a different person. Like I look at my clothes like, oh, these don't fit anymore when they used to, or like whatever. Like all of that can be these weird, like little rude awakenings. Right. But like until you have those, it's like, you are the same person. And at the end of the day, like your personality is still the same. It's growing and changing. You're learning. Like that is what matters. Your body is literally just a vessel. And like, I don't know, like I feel like it's a lifelong fucking thing. Like your body's going to change. You're going to develop wrinkles. You're going to develop like smile lines and your hair's going to go gray. Like we're all going to deal with that shit. So like, right. If it's not positivity, it's just like we're all fucking tired. Like, I don't know. There's only so much you can do.
That's so valid, though. It's like the body dysmorphia with looking at old pictures of yourself. Like, it's really, really hard. And I think a lot of people relate to that. But exactly, it's like I do think like that's not me. And especially with like people like us that do like I don't know. Like I feel like you've been like consistent with Fiji and like that's what you like. That's your name. But for me, like, I've gone through it, you know? And I do honestly feel like I associate things like I said, like, this hair is, like, what I kind of had when I was 19. And I, like, was kind of a different vibe back then. And I don't know. I don't really feel like that was me. Like, I feel like it was an extension of me.
And that's, like, a thing, too, because I think I've, like, for me, when I gained more weight and went from, like, really skinny to, like, you know, more of an appropriate like fat on my body for like my frame and stuff like that. Like it was hard figuring out your style because it almost feels like you're reinventing yourself when you're like realizing it. But there's like things you can do to make yourself more confident, like being like finding the things to appreciate about your body. Like for me, from going from so fucking thin to where everything just, you know, looks good on your body because you're literally like a fucking coat rack, to being thicker, it's like, oh, well, now I love my hips and now my ass is fat. And like focusing on those types of things is what I try to do now. Like I try to think like when I'm feeling insecure about my stomach or feeling like, oh, I'm heavier than I was like a few years ago, like I just think like, oh, when I was skinny as fuck, I hated my body because I had no ass. So it's like I will never be happy, and that's okay. So like let me just appreciate. And also we're the youngest we're ever gonna be, you know, like you never hear
that's
older
pressure,
women being
bro.
Like, but like that's also like you never hear like older women always talk about like, oh, I wish I like lived my life more, I wish I loved my body more, like I wish I like appreciated this age, you know, because it's like
and I feel like that even thinking about like 18-year-old me, because the way that I thought I was fat is delusional. I was delusional. And I'm probably going to look back at me now when I'm 35 and think the same shit. But right now, I literally feel like I'm an Oompa Loompa, bro.
You literally are.
I know.
And that just goes back to what I said earlier, and the persons that we can look at other people's bodies and be like, that is like so hot. She looks so hot right now. But if you put that same outfit on your body with the same body type, you're going to be like, oh my God, I look disgusting. You know, so like step outside your body, like do what you can.
Yeah, get
to
outside
appreciate
in
it.
general, like
You're
read
the
a
same
book.
Person.
Yeah. Like we need to just get outside of our heads and like all the filter shit and like the BBL, like plastic surgery fucking shit. It's so hard. It really is.
Ozempic,
The biggest thing is just fucking surround yourself with people that like have similar views where they're working on their body or they feel good. Like, you know, like just with people that are trying to like unlearn this shit, you know?
Yeah.
But that is basically the end of the episode. So we're gonna move into our wrap-up segment now, talking about what we're so wet, so dry, and still maybe a little confused about the topic. And overall, like I wasn't excited for this episode, like I'll be honest. But I do feel like it helped. And I don't know why I didn't think that, because honestly, like a lot of our conversations throughout this podcast have been very healing, like specifically like not feeling so angry at men anymore and like being, you know, just in other directions and not just focusing on individual men and how bad they suck and things like that. So I think it was a healing conversation for me. And, you know, we are so not alone. Like we are so not alone. It's revolutionary to be confident in your body. Like right now, it really is. Like it's hard for everyone, no matter what fucking gender, what the fuck ever you are. It's hard. So I definitely want to applaud us for like being like, it is like kind of scary to talk about, you know, like there's a time where I wouldn't want to go on the internet and talk about how I have stomach rolls. Like, but I'm honestly like what you said, like, it's
we
like,
all do.
It's like if someone really loves you, like they're not gonna give a fuck. And there are people that genuinely just like thicker bodies. Like
it's hot.
It's gonna be okay. And like just I feel like So Wet So Dry is such a safe space for me. Like we just come on here and are just like just like pour our fucking hearts out. And so this was like healing, and it's just good to talk about it. Like we don't want to talk about bodies constantly, but every once in a while it's like nice to just kind of talk about all the shit, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Same for me, because I feel like I've been like in a weird place with my body right now too. Like even though like it helps to have a partner that I'm having like consistent good sex with, like I think like I've been in this weird place with my body where like I'm definitely like working out and eating in certain ways where like I would like to lose a couple pounds, but like I'm also still trying to be like at peace with where I'm at.
Hard.
And so that's like a weird thing, but like I think two things can be true at the same time. Like I can still love my body and also still want it to be a little bit different, and like that's okay. Like I don't need to do it to an extreme, you know. But I'm definitely wet about like, you know, the people on Reddit that were so vulnerable, and also like our listeners who shared, because like the more we talk about it, it's just like we all are insecure about like the microscopic things sometimes. And also I'm wet about like overcoming this like disclosure thing that I've had, because like it literally every time I've ever done it,
I don't know why.
It makes me feel ridiculous every time I've ever done it. So if you're a person that does this as well, like
I've definitely done it too. Like I feel like it's very like women be like because we just want to like I don't know. Not all women, but it's definitely a
like
thing.
It's totally like a thing. It's like you trying to like address it before they do, but they're not even.
You're like kind of protecting yourself in a way, but then you end up like shooting yourself in the foot.
But you're making yourself look dumber.
Yeah.
So it's like once we can get out of our own heads and like, you know, into how other people view us, how we view other people with the same fucking bodies that we have.
Right.
I think it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's hard, but we can do it. I would say for dry, like I'm definitely dry about like, you know, all the stories of like men just like making comments like during sex. Like it's just so crazy.
Insane.
And like for the people that voted that like that has happened to them or it's kind of happened to them, you know, like it's really fucking hard. And I honestly feel so lucky that like no one's said that shit to me, knock on wood. Because it's like, you know, I'm glad they kept that shit to themselves if they did have something to say. Like, right. I don't know. Like, so I definitely really dry about that. And I do feel like talking about, like body shaming men. Like I do hate that it's such like a quick thing for me and like other people to just like jump to like ridicule their dick size or like their height or whatever. Like, and it sucks. Like, it's like on one hand, it's like you like what you like. Like, how can we really judge? But I just feel like in turn, what it's doing to society is like, it is affecting it, and it is affecting like young boys for sure. And I feel like no one really does talk about that.
Yeah, same. Like honestly, like I'm dry anytime that there's like some sort of thing that like I've actively participated in that I feel like is moving men to the radical right. You know, like something like that is just like, because that's a really, really terrifying place. And it's also like, I don't know, like I'm dry about like those ways that I've probably been an active participant in shaming men, or like, you know, I don't know. But like also just the whole partner thing, like everything you said, I'm dry about just insecurities and body shit in general. Like sex is such a vulnerable place and position to be that anytime someone says anything even slightly to the left, it's just like your heart and your soul. But I was a little dry to like even address this topic too. Like I know I suggested it, but like I was also just a little bit like, because we all have weird relationships with our body. Like it feels like such exposure to like talk about it, but I do really feel like good after doing it.
I know, I do too, like genuinely. And for confused, like honestly, there's not too much I'm confused about. Like I do feel like we gave fire advice low key. Like, and I'm like proud of myself that I even had advice to give, because if you just asked me off bat, I'd be like, I don't fucking know, I hate myself. But it's like satire. Like I don't hate myself, but it's like the words you say to yourself like is hard. But I guess like honestly kind of what you said about it's like how do you balance like having like good body image of yourself, but also being like it's okay to like want to lose a couple of pounds, or like not even like for me it's like I just want to eat more foods that like give me energy. And I do think like the food in this country is like a whole conversation. And like it is like sometimes you feel like you have to be rich to eat healthy to like get all of the ingredients, and like I don't know, like get the salmon, and it's like it's more expensive and stuff. But yeah, it's just balancing like having a good body image while also like just in a healthy way. But I do feel like the answer is just like therapy and like all the things we said. So
yeah, I'm confused about the same too, because I feel like it's like a constant balance that we're almost never gonna figure out throughout like our whole adulthood. And even just like loving yourself and like body neutrality, growing up in a society that didn't push that, like I think it's possible for us to teach our children that, but unlearning that in yourself I think is like still so confusing.
Intellectually it's like I got it, but in practice just like everything else, like
impossible. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Besides, like, maybe also, like, the whole conversation about, like, women saying these things coming at men's bodies because of, like, them saying something first or being a dickhead first, where we're trying to get it through to them. But, like, also balancing, like, oh, they're humans as well with real insecurities. Like, that is kind of, like, an iffy thing. Like, we don't always need to hit below the belt. But, like, Drew off wallow, like, shit like that is, like, still a little bit confusing to me.
Yeah.
But overall, like,
it's like we don't need to be perfect all the fucking time. Like, that, you know what I mean? And that's also a thing. So, it's very layered. But let us know what you guys thought of the episode in the comments below or in our DMs on Instagram. Make sure you're definitely following on Instagram. So Wet, So Dry, the O's are zeros. That's where we post the polls and give an opportunity to submit stories for the episode. But you can also always email us any topics, ideas, stories, anything. SoWetSoDry@gmail.com. Make sure you are following on Spotify or subscribed on YouTube. And even if you're on YouTube, you can go to our Spotify and just click follow. It takes 2 seconds and it helps us so much. You can rate us on platforms as well. Give us some stars. Comment below. Let us know what you guys genuinely thought about this, what you struggle with, what helped you, talk to each other. And let us know what you thought.
Yes, and we also do have listener support, which is the only way you guys can financially support us if you guys really fuck with our content. It's on Spotify, but the link is at the bottom of the description of every single episode. It's 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99 a month. We also are doing artist creator spotlights if you guys are interested. We haven't done them in a while, but if you have a brand, if you create content, if you make music, if you, I don't know, anything, and you want us to spotlight you in like a short 2-minute segment, we would love to do that. So definitely email us, DM us, whatever. And yeah, thank you for listening. We love you so much, and we will catch you in the next episode.
Bye.
By now, everyone has seen or heard of the fact that conservative men are struggling in dating in this political climate. Here's a fucking thought. Change your mind. Be open to changing your mind. It's not that deep. I know mommy and daddy will be very upset if you so much as open your mind even slightly, but it's okay. It's okay. So here's a couple of takes on this. Number one, there's a lot of girls stitching saying if that they see that a man is conservative on a dating app, it's a double right. And I have a one up on that. If I see if a man is a double C, I call it a double hit, a Christian conservative, fuck no. Because that doesn't happen overnight. That goes to show me that you come from a long line of Christian nationalists who are on board with Project 2025. That's immediately what I jump to. That tells me it's not just you, it's me. Because we would not get along. I would open my mouth and you'd be leaving the dining room table. It's all right. It's all right. We'll just move along. Number two, these men don't even know what they believe. They don't even know what they believe. I saw a quote the other day. Can't even remember where I heard it. But it was someone saying that there's a difference between what you are taught and what you believe. And I find that through and through with these conservative men. These conservative men oftentimes have no idea what they even believe in, because I no longer argue with people on either far side of the aisle because they're just too far gone. So what I do is ask why? Why? What policies, what procedures, what evidence suggests that that was a good move have you found? That that's a good reason to do that? And they can never answer me. They can never answer me. Or the answer is solely lied in hating on the other side. So when you ask a conservative man about a policy and he talks about, well, fucking Joe Biden, fuck Joe Biden. I'm like, okay, yup. Joe Biden's a war criminal. Like, we get that. Like, he needs to be impeached. He doesn't even know where he is. He just Roombas around. We get it. But what will your side do to fix that? All of it. Always Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Hillary Clinton. Like, can we just fucking get over that? My God. Oh, and Obama, too. They love that. But if your political opinion doesn't lie in research and or you can't back it up, come correct, stand on business with your political opinion, and or it lies in hating the other side, your political opinion is null and void to me. You literally, like, you don't even have a political opinion to me. You don't even get to have a political opinion. They're that political alliance because it is the alpha male thing to do. It is beta to be a liberal man. It is rooted in hating and control of women. And that is the only thing that they have to hold on to in that political alliance. Women are going to have political opinions. We're going to have strong ones. It's not the 1950s no longer, bruv. No longer. And I will not shut my mouth. I will never shut my mouth. And I will absolutely not shut my mouth for a man. We are out here begging men to take a look in the mirror, and they are not, and they will not. And this loneliness epidemic that your dick's not getting wet every other day is going to grow, okay? It's only going to get worse because we are going to shut this shit down. We're going to shut these legs for further business, okay? So you better get with it or get the fuck out, because you're going to get lonelier and lonelier as a product of your own design.